Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea.
And I'm MJ.
And welcome back to another episode of the Laps Down podcast. How are we, girls? I feel like I spent the weekend in Vegas.
For real.
Yeah. I do be feeling tired. I feel, I was really hungry. I felt hungover, even though I don't really even feel like I drank that much. Like, definitely not like a clubbing type of gal. I just feel hungover on life right now. But we are so excited to be back. A day late. I'll take some criticism on that. But we're going to be talking all about Vegas. We have other things to talk about that are IndyCar and NASCAR related, though, first. So stick around for our Vegas stuff. Also, MJ had voice issues last episode. This episode, it's me, girl. I lost my voice. Yeah. We met for the first time in person this weekend. Do you have any notes?
It was
anything
sick.
I could improve upon? Oh, okay.
No, all good things.
Yeah. I feel like there was like a point where I was like, this is the first time MJ's seen me overstimulated in public. So let's just go ahead and work through that. Like,
Are you talking about in the Bellagio?
We were supposed to be going to the race, but we needed to like go back to our hotel first. And it was like around the time they were shutting down the strip, and we were in the Bellagio. And I literally was like, how do you get out of here? I was like, somebody find a door. Where are we? And I was like feeling very overstimulated. The Bellagio is like the scariest place on earth. I'm never going back there. It was so scary. But yeah, no notes from me either. You're delightful. What I love about MJ is she found one restaurant that played country music, and she just thought, we best stick with this restaurant.
We only went there twice, though. So it wasn't like a weird amount of times.
Yeah.
We just like went there the first time, and I was like, whoa, this is really good country music. And then we came back, and the waitress was like, she was so sweet. She was like, oh, what are you guys like here for? And we were like, the country music. And she's like, oh. And we were like, actually, we're here for F1. Like, we're here for the race this weekend.
Yeah, she thought, like, I meant the city, but thanks for coming in, I guess.
Yeah.
You came to Vegas just for this restaurant and the country music.
Country.
Well, speaking of somebody who is partying and having a good time, that transitions beautifully into our first topic. I love surprising you with what I'm about to talk about, because whenever I transition into something, you're always like, it'll be a surprise to you and the audience what I'm about to say. Tyler Reddick partying with Shaq.
Iconic. It was literally the funniest video I've watched. I watched it probably like, what were we at, free practice?
Yeah, and you were like, I have a video of Tyler Reddick, and I said, show it to me, Rachel.
Show it to me, please.
Yeah, he is literally not even tall enough really to see over the DJ booth. With love, of course, Tyler Reddick.
It doesn't help that he's standing right next to Shaquille O'Neal, though, to be fair.
Right.
In his defense.
But I love how, like, his wife is up there, too. Like, this is clearly a bit that they have together, that they love Shaq and his DJing career. Like, because they both separately posted it on their Instagrams. And they were like, we met Shaq and we got to stand on stage while he was DJing. And I was like, I would love to know the backstory of how they, like, come to love Shaq, the DJ. I don't know.
I don't even know how you become exposed to Shaq, the DJ.
What is your favorite thing about Shaq? I have a favorite thing.
Doesn't he have like a Papa John's whole thing?
Yes, I was just about to say, I like the Gold Bond commercials.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, everybody comment below your favorite Shaq commercial. There's a good amount of them, so I'd love to hear it. Anyways, love Tyler Reddick. Furthermore, COTA is changing for NASCAR. I'm going to be honest, it took me a while to figure out what even the story here was. I was like, right, so they're just like changing it a little bit, but people had a lot of thoughts and opinions. Do you want to explain what the changes are?
So they're basically taking out like the hairpin of COTA and like the long back straight. I got all my information from Break Hard, not to shout out Break Hard, but
hey.
Every time a NASCAR thing happens, I'm like,
what did
let me see what Break Hard says, and then I'll form my opinion. But it's similar to what Supercars, the Australian series, ran, like, back in, I don't know, 10 years ago. So
times.
Back in the olden days. But right now the lap time is like 2 minutes and wait, I have it written down. 2 minutes and 11 seconds for NASCAR. And so essentially, hopefully it's going to cut it down by at least 40 seconds, which means if you're going to COTA, you're going to see more racing. And also if they have like caution laps, they're not going to be 2 freaking minutes long. So in my opinion, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty good deal, but people
the only way to find out is to
pissed.
try it. The only way to find out is to try it. So like,
I don't think it's
let's just
gonna
try
hurt.
it. There was somebody that commented probably the worst take. It was probably on Breakard's video. I'm going to be honest. I was probably watching a Breakard video, and I went to the comments, and I saw this, and I was like, why do we care? So I was looking through the comments of a Breakard video, most likely place for Andrea to be, and somebody commented, like, I'm so sad about this because this is one of the few times that we can directly compare F1 to NASCAR. And I thought, has anybody been wanting to do that? Is that...
Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
Why do we care? Like, I don't understand why. I don't think anybody cares. I just thought this video this comment was so funny because it had like a bunch of likes, and I was like, is there a world of people out there that are like, I really wanted to compare lap times between NASCAR and F1.
Dang. It's one of the only times we can compare NASCAR to MotoGP.
Oh, God.
It's so dumb. People are dumb.
Hey, me when people are dumb. Like, what do you mean?
I don't know.
Oh, God. Also, all weekend, I have been saying that same exact joke format in even more annoying ways. Like, every time I would do anything, I'd be like, me when I walked to Vegas GP, and MJ would just be like, right.
There were sometimes I laughed. Sometimes it really hit me.
I think the best ones were the me when I lie, and it's people just lying about news that is not confirmed and has not happened on the internet for no reason. Like, Red Bull brought the wrong wing. Me when I lie. Anyways, we're not even going to talk about that because it's so dumb and untrue. Anyways, last thing is actually a little story time. We were in Vegas, and I decided to take some reporting to the ground, okay? I was on the ground reporting, live, just not really, in any sense of the word. I was not live. But I found some men that were wearing Chase Elliott jackets, and 2 things happened. One of them was really tame and inconsequential, but it did provide some information. The other one was probably the most mortifying experience of my life, and I'll probably stay up awake thinking about it for the next several years of my life. So we'll cover both of them. The first one being tame and inconsequential. We were leaving the Vegas race, and we were walking back to our hotel along with 100 other people, like, trudging the streets of Vegas. And up ahead, I saw a guy wearing a Chase Elliott jacket. And I said to MJ, I said, this is our opportunity to understand the mentality of a Chase Elliott fan. We've been wondering all along why people love him. He was most recently voted the most popular NASCAR driver. I'm so curious what's going on here. And so I was like next to him, and I was like, hey, like, I see you're wearing a Chase Elliott jacket. Can you tell me why he's your favorite driver? I was just curious because I'm a newer NASCAR fan. And he was like, he's just cool. Mm-hmm. And I was like, right. And then he was like, he's not even really my favorite. And then he was like, my favorite is like Kyle Busch or something. I don't even remember.
Said it's the hometown boy, Busch. I was like, okay. Me when I lie.
Yeah, you just pulled that out of your ass. And then he was like, I'm going to be honest, I just liked the coat. And it was like one of the Hooters Chase Elliott coats. And so me and MJ were like, okay, further proof that there is no Chase Elliott fans and they're actually all a sham and a lie. And so I was like, damn, this is hard-hitting reporting. Imagine my surprise when the next day I saw another man wearing a Chase Elliott shirt or jacket. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's so interesting. He looked like he was like a photographer of some sort. We were in the Williams fan zone. And I waited till he was no longer taking photos or anything, and he was just kind of standing there. And I was like, hey, like, do you watch NASCAR? Like, I'm a newer fan. Like, I was just wondering why you were a Chase Elliott fan. Because, like, he was voted most popular. And he was like, yeah. And he was about to answer me. And next thing you know, like, 4 other men, like, emerge out of basically nowhere. Like, I have no idea where they were hiding. And one of them, he, like, starts asking me, he's like, do you watch sports? And I was like other sports? Like, I don't know, not really. Like, maybe football a little bit. I don't know. He was like, no, I mean, like, do you watch, like, F1? And I was like, right. So I am in, like, the Williams fan zone in Vegas on F1 weekend wearing F1 merch. I don't know if that, like, matters at all. But, yes, I definitely watch F1. Thank you so much for asking. He was like, yeah, Chase Elliott, like, people like him because he's basically the Danny Ricciardo of NASCAR. And just as like my jaw was about to hit the floor from him saying that, all of a sudden, the man who was previously on stage hosting the Williams Fan Zone is suddenly next to us. And apparently the man I was talking to in some way was involved in the Williams Fan Zone, and he was now doing a little segment. And I was informed, you're on Instagram Live. I went, what's happening? Who are you people? And I dipped out just in time to find out that they're some sort of organization to like give, I think like sim racers like money to like do like actual racing, to like try to get more people involved in the sport. I couldn't tell you what they were doing because at this point I was blacked out and I was just trying to figure out how to get out of this situation. It was so stressful. MJ said it wasn't that embarrassing, and good thing their Instagram only had 2 people on it, because I was like, surely there's a man on there calling me fat and dumb by now. Instagram Live is not a place I want to be surrounded by 4 men. But yeah, what I'm taking from this is that nobody knows why Chase Elliott is the most popular driver. Who voted in the poll?
Like. He's won it 7 years in a row. 7 years is a lot of time for people to be actively commenting that he has a personality of like a bottle of glue.
He's the Danny Rick of NASCAR.
That's insane.
When I tell you,
first of all, no, he's not.
Danny Rick has like bajillion-dollar brand deals with like major brands because he's so charismatic that they were like, we don't even care that he's bad at racing. He has so much fucking charisma. We need to bottle him up and sell him.
I've never
Nobody's
heard
doing that for
anything from Chase Elliott. Like, I've never heard anything from Chase Elliott. He does like interviews. Even his like, did you watch his acceptance speech of the most popular driver of the year award? I don't think any muscle in his face moved. His voice stayed on one pitch the whole time. I was like, who's rigging the votes? Who wants him in this? Who wants him?
They're rigging
so
the
far
votes.
I've found out they're
too soon. Anyways, but yeah. So what I want to. So like, also people liked his dad. So he's Nepo popular? He's Nepo popular?
7 years in a row is a lot of time to be Nepo popular.
We gotta figure this out, people. We gotta figure this out. Like, if you're a Chase Elliott fan, I know we had, like, 2 people comment before on our YouTube about why they're a Chase Elliott fan. A lot of them just involved, like, he's chill. And if by chill you mean, like, silent, then yeah, he's pretty chill, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if by chill you mean unmoving and just standing there, yeah, he's a pretty chill guy, I would say.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
This is our Chase Elliott impression. So anywho, oh god, now we're about to find out who the Chase Elliott fans are. They're about to find our podcast.
Great.
Make us wish we had never said anything.
I have no qualms with Chase Elliott. I'm sure he's like a totally mid-human being. Like, I don't really have... But I do think it's funny that for some reason Chase Elliott is like the Nirvana t-shirt of NASCAR fans.
Yeah. No, I literally was like, that guy who was like, I just cheer for the hometown boy, Bush. Me and MJ walked away and we just Nirvana'd that man because we were basically just like, name 3 NASCAR drivers. Like, we had a suspicion he didn't actually give a fuck about NASCAR. Then he finally came clean and was like, I just like that it's a Hooters jacket. And I was like, thank you for being honest.
Yeah, we didn't shame him or anything. We were very nice about it.
Have you ever been to Hooters? Like, the food there is actually kind of good. So, like, I get it, dude.
Name
I get
3 appetizers at Hooters.
I like the little wooden bowls that they serve the food in.
I don't think I've ever been to a Hooters. I'm so sorry.
We'll add it to the list. MJ has never been to a Hooters. Cheddar's, she's never been.
Hooters.
Oh, my God. Rainforest Cafe. The trauma and the hurt. We're going to do a little vlog about Vegas, and I'm sure the Rainforest Cafe debacle will make its way in there, so keep an eye out. But yeah, Cheddar's, you have to go and get the little chicken tender meal, the NASCAR chicken tender meal.
Is that the...
They also...
Is it Bush? Is it Bush?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, wait, maybe that's what he's actually a fan of. He's like, oh fuck, what's that guy from Cheddar's? I know he's a NASCAR guy.
I love that Cheddar's meal. No, it's like literally named after him, and it has this little picture on the menu. Also, Cheddar's, they serve you like these like honey butter croissants as like the free bread, which is such a strange choice, but it's really good. Like, it's definitely like weirder than like a cheddar biscuit or like an Olive Garden breadstick. Like, I'm just like, honey butter croissant before my chicken tenders? Like, it's like, it doesn't really make sense, but like, I like it anyways.
But it works.
They also have a really good painkiller drink. It's like one of those ones that come in like the giant fucking margarita glass.
I think I'm so confused. I thought Cheddar's was like a Raising Cane's. It's like a sit-down place?
It's a scratch-made kitchen. Like, they literally make everything, babes. Like, it's not even like a Gordon's Food Service.
Okay,
like,
so
they're back there cooking shit.
This changes everything, because I was thinking, like, it's like a Cane's, like, it's a fast food. You go up to the counter, there's Kyle Busch. But there's, like, a foldable menu with Kyle Busch's face in it.
Correct. It's like what I would say, it's like one step above an Applebee's. It's basically a Chili's in my mind. Like, I think Chili's is like, ooh, like when I go to a Chili's, like I'm like, like this is a little nice, you know what I mean? It's like a little different, you know what I mean? Like Applebee's, I'm just there for like the half price apps, you know what I mean? Like I'm in the gutter a little bit. But Cheddar's is not that. It's not that at all. Okay, so I can't wait to go with you. We looked. There's not a Cheddar's in Vegas, everybody. So when we update our calendar of what races we're going to in 2025, we're going to discover where the Cheddar's are.
Based on where Cheddar's is.
Cheddar's, if you're seeing this and you want to send us to a Cheddar's, that'd be such a sick partnership. That's literally the sickest partnership I could possibly think of.
Who's more popular, us or Kyle Busch? Kyle Busch? Kurt Busch. Kyle Busch. Kurt Busch does racing.
Oh, you're meaning like who they would partner with?
No, who's like, yeah, who would get them more? Us.
Yeah, right.
Busch didn't win most popular driver. We could slip in there. Yeah, we could have. We could have if we ran, if we campaigned.
Next year, guys, would you guys be willing to rig the vote and vote for us? Like, would you guys be willing?
Is there a write-in? I definitely did. Did you vote?
No, I just wanted
vote
the
like
people's
10
voice.
times a day.
Oh, okay.
Not that
you know
I did.
what? I'm gonna save that joke.
For what?
I'm gonna cut this. I was gonna say, does that just mean Chase Elliott fans are unemployed? They be sitting at home. Making up email addresses.
Actually, probably. Maybe
should I leave that in?
He's like the pop star. He's like the quick name pop star. Austin Mahomes. Austin Mahomes? He's like the Justin Bieber of NASCAR driver.
Is it Austin? Oh no, that's Austin McBroom. I was gonna say, is it Austin Mahomes, like the family vlogger? No, it's like when Justin Bieber told people to like stream his music and then like stream it and then turn it all the way down to get, which you guys should absolutely be doing with the Lapstone podcast. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Apple Podcasts, please don't ban us. Anywho, Cheddar's, reach out, babes. IndyCar. First things first, we have Stingray Rob. I'm gonna leave space for MJ to be upset. I'm gonna leave space for the lyrics of Defining Gravity.
So we did recently find out that Stingray Rob does have a seat in IndyCar, which that's crazy. They're just handing him out to anybody, aren't they? But he's
girl.
He's driving with Junko's Hollinger next year, so he's either taking Romain Grosjean's spot or he's taking Conor Daly's spot, both of which perform significantly better than him. I know he has that Pray.com money. I totally get the Pray.com money, but like, wouldn't it be cool to like win
is Pray.com?
It's
you're telling me that Romain Grosjean can't pray? Conor Daly can't pray? Like, can't they just give their money elsewhere? Like, what do we mean? Okay, I'm on Pray.com.
Be careful. Don't sign up for anything. Don't give anybody your address. They're going to send you little things in the mail. They're going to ask for you to send them money.
For Stingray Rob's seat.
Exactly. Pray.com is a crazy sponsor.
I genuinely think, like, if Conor Daly told me to download Pray.com, like, I maybe would. Like, if that's what
Conor
it takes.
Daly did, sure.
If that's what it takes. Like, if Conor Daly or Romain Grosjean just, like, we're given pray.com money, I'd be like, fair enough. Like, here I go, about to pray, I guess. Like, but I'm going to pray for them to keep their, I'm going to pray for them to keep their seat. Everybody, me when I pray. But, like, I just don't understand.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I spent a little too much time today writing down all these driver comparison statistics. So Stingray Rob, just to kind of get an idea of what he's cooking, which is nothing. He ended 20th in the driver's standing with 185 points. He had one top 10 finish, and he was his average finish was 19th place. Crazy. Connor Daly, who only did 7 races. Who only did 7 races compared to 17 that Mr. Stingray did, was 17th in he was 26th in the standing, but he only did 7 races. He only did 7 races. He had 119 points compared to Stingray Rob's 185 in 10 more races. He also had one top 5 finish because he had that podium where he got the little pastry shoved in his face, and 3 top 10 finishes with an average finish of P15. And they're giving up that because it sounds like Connor Daly's not even in consideration for the second seat, which is why he now has a trackside broadcasting gig.
Right, do we want to talk about... Well, okay, first of all, I just want to say, by the way, like, stop doing my man Roman Grosjean dirty. Stop making him stress. Stop making him feel like, it's just, I'm not having it. This man, like, walked through fire. Like, give him a fucking job,
and that's
please.
All he ever talks about is walking through fire. Every interview he does, he always talks about it. And the issue is...
And listen, if I walked through fire, I wouldn't shut the fuck up about it either.
Oh, for sure. No, same. He's not good. Roman Grosjean isn't good. But he's a hell of a lot better than Stingray motherfucking Rob. Are we giving him a seat because he's named after a car?
At least he gives us something. Okay, like, even if he's not giving us good on-track performance, he's giving us, like, iconic radio messages. He's giving us energy. He's giving us Roman Grosjeanisms, okay, that I can't really quite part with yet. Like, I need at least one more season of that, please.
I think you're SOL. I don't think he's getting a seat. Crazy when there's, like, actual talent out there and they're like, let's go Stingray Rob. He's not even funny. Stingray Rob does the worm, and that's it.
That's literally it. All he had was just that worm clip. Yeah. He's writing that and pray.com all the way to the motherfucking bank.
And it's working. That's the worst part. Is we're getting
so
pray.com'd.
We're all getting pray.com'd. Connor Daly, future sports broadcaster, okay? He was the trackside commentator at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I literally cannot think of a single reason why he got that job. I'm so happy he did, but I just am very confused as to, like, what the connection there is.
I think it's because he was available.
Fair enough. Second favorite IndyCar person to speak at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, because the first would, of course, be James Hinchcliffe. I'm so sad I couldn't tune into that until I got home and rewatch it on F1 TV. Connor Daly, though, was so amazing. He looked so out of place in that paddock. Like, he was, like, dressed, I think, like, good enough, but, like, he somehow seemed underdressed because, like, Vegas was just so obnoxious. He literally just looked like a dude in a quarter zip standing there talking about racing. And that was the energy I needed for, like, to put me back down on earth during the Vegas Grand Prix. He literally said some of the wildest things. My favorite, though, is, like, pretty early in the race, we had Liam Lawson and Kevin Magnussen fighting. And there was one point where, like, Liam kind of got, like, brake checked a little bit by K-Mag, and he almost kind of, like, put the, like front wing of his car, like, under the rear wing of Kevin Magnussen's car. And he said something of, like, oh, that looks like a little NASCAR bump. And then he was, like, a couple seconds later being like, this is the USA, and rubbing his racing. And everybody in the grandstands was like, what is this man on about? And I just was like, that's my man's right there. He's talking about NASCAR at the F1 race. He does not even give a shit about this race. He's just trying to relate it to something he loves way more, which is NASCAR.
Love that.
He also, I feel like we were maybe like the only people. Like I don't know why, but every time I heard him speak, I was like, is that Conor Daly? I love that man. You know what I mean? Like everybody else there didn't really care.
Yeah, I think we were 2 of maybe 5 who were super excited when we were like, holy shit, is that Conor Daly on the large screen? And then he just continued to be there the entire weekend.
I hope he enjoyed Ludacris's performance.
I'm sure he did.
I don't know, I just feel like that would have been right up his alley. He just gives, like, he could get down to some Ludacris. So shout out him. And then lastly, some exciting news for MJ and Andrea. Max Verstappen and Scott Dixon hung out.
Crazy. That happened while I was in a plane, so I wasn't really able to properly freak out about it. They hung out. Yuki drove an Indy car. Looked pretty sick. I wasn't invited, which was fine.
Yeah. Wait, was Scott Dixon driving anything, or was he just there to, like, observe?
He was just there with Honda. To be like...
I thought maybe they did, like, a full switch. Like, I thought, like, Yuki got to drive the Indy car, Max got to drive the, like, Acura thing or whatever. He got to drive, like, Max's car. Like, I thought maybe it was, like, a full switch. You know what I mean?
Put Scott Dixon in the second Red Bull seat. Just for fun.
Please.
What's the worst that could happen?
I don't know. I think he was, like, he would have, like, good energy. There's, like, a thing where you have to just be somebody that Max Verstappen wants to hang out with to be the second Red Bull seat. I think Max would want to hang out with Scott Dixon.
Sure. Who wouldn't want to hang out with Scott Dixon?
No, that's, like, literally why, like, Checo has a seat. Like, I think at this point, he's literally just, like, written in his contract. Like, I enjoy hanging out with Checo. You guys keep bringing these annoying-ass motherfuckers in to be my second teammate. I don't like any of them. I like this one. Don't get rid of him. They're like, Max, he's not really, like, doing that well. And he's like, yeah. And neither was Pierre or Albon. But they were also annoying, and this one isn't. So,
there you go.
It all works out. Shout out Scott Dixon. So that means he was, like, in Vegas. He just didn't come to the race. He was like, I have no need to be bothered with that.
He said it starts at 10 p.m. Fuck that.
He said, I am leaving. Goodbye, everyone. Have so much fun. I'm not doing that shit. Speaking of starting at 10 p.m., let's talk about F1. There's just so much that happened. First things first, I will say the schedule is a little crazy. I do get why, like, the drivers bitch and moan about it. I 100% understand. Like, it is crazy. I cannot even believe either that this is the beginning of a triple header. So they start the triple header with the worst schedule known to man. Like, I almost feel like, and we talked about other reasons why Vegas should be the finale, but, like, one of them would be, like, this sort of schedule, I feel like would almost be bearable if you knew it was, like, the last time you were doing any of this before the off season. But the fact that you, like, have 2 more races after this, oh my god. If I was them, I would not shut the fuck up about it either. Like, it sucks. Other reasons why Vegas should be the finale, literally such a great race came out of it, and we'll talk about that. 2nd year in a row. Like, can we officially stop shitting on, like, the Vegas racing? Like, even if you don't like the schedule, you don't like Vegas, the racing is so much fun. I'm tired of these old head F1 fans trying to act like they didn't have a great time. I know y'all did. And also, they had fireworks. They had the Rolls-Royce cool-down car again. Literally love those. Tattoo those on my brain. They had little fountains that they stood in front of. They had Terry Crews, and him and Max did this.
That was weird. I didn't like that. Terry Crews, because I just finished watching the race. He so clearly had been given notes. Like 2 little brief little points. He's like, hey, Terry, when you go up there, make sure to ask Carlos about the manhole cover. That's something you talk to him about. Talk to him about the manhole cover. It was just really...
But he's obsessed. I think he maybe watches enough F1 to be obsessed with Max Verstappen, because he was actually kind of fangirling when he went up there.
I think he doesn't watch F1, but I think he's on, like, the Verstappen side of TikTok, and that's where he gets his information from.
Oh.
Because he didn't seem to really vibe with Carlos. And, like, he thinks
he did not
that's
vibe
the
with
enemy.
Carlos. He kind of vibed with Lewis and Max, which makes me think he's only there for champions. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about these side characters. Like, he kind of was like, well, these guys are winners, and I like winners. And so, yeah, he vibed with them. So to start the weekend, we had 2 uneventful practice sessions where nothing happened and nobody cares. Then we had qualifying day where Franco crashed. This crash, honestly, was one of like the scarier crashes I feel like I've like seen this last couple seasons, maybe, because it was like kind of an inexplicable place to crash. There's no runoff, and he literally like volleyed himself off one wall directly into another. It was definitely not a place that I think anybody would anticipate somebody crashing, but he kind of like was avoiding one car, and in the process fuck around and found out and destroyed the fuck out of that Williams. Now, at what point do we put Williams down out of its misery?
Beginning of 2024.
Right. They're 9th in the Constructors' Championship. They're unlikely to get 8th because of just like the point differential. They're unlikely to have Stake come up and beat them. So they're probably going to be unmoving in their Constructors' Championship standings at this point. It's not, in my opinion, sensical to keep dealing with this. Like, I literally am like, you guys, these mechanics, they deserve the rest of the year off.
I think it's just a product of not, I mean, James told us all last year, he's like, I didn't do anything, we're not focusing on the 2024 car, we're not focusing on the 2025 car, it's all about that sweet, sweet 2026. So I do think we're going to have another season of exactly this.
I'm so excited. We also had Alex Albon have to retire from the actual race because of a power unit issue.
Yeah, there was debris in his car. Which makes sense because there is so much trash all over the Las Vegas GP circuit. And then did you see the video of the FIA director littering on the track?
No.
Yeah, he got out of his car to like throw a paper over like the safer, or it wasn't the safer barrier, but it was like the little barrier, and it just like stayed there. He got back in his car and kept driving, and everyone was like, "Huh, that's crazy behavior."
I saw like before the race, like the little marshals were like out with little buckets, like picking up trash, but there was like like napkins flying around. There was like so much shit on the track. There was something that got caught under George's car. There was something that happened with Pierre's car, and I don't know if it also was maybe a debris situation or he just actually had a power unit issue. But that's kind of insane. Rest in peace, Williams. I just like, I'm sad because I want to see Franco keep racing because he only has 2 more left, and I'm really starting to feel uncertain that he will ever get a seat because...
You don't think he's going to go Cadillac?
No, I don't, because I think that, like, he's not finishing the season off as strong as he started it, and the hype is starting to die down, and undeservingly so. Like, I think people have short-term memories, and, like, if he has to sit out next season, I think that there's going to be somebody new, somebody better, somebody more exciting that Cadillac can go with. Like, look at, like, a Théo Pourchaire situation. Like, if you're, like,
he never
for
drove
1
an
second...
F1.
True. But, like, if you're, like, for 1 second not, like, on the forefront of people's minds, they will find somebody else in F2 or something. That's just as exciting.
I just think the difference with him is he drove in F1 for so long, and he did so well in a car that clearly isn't good and hasn't been good since the beginning of the year, that I don't know why he wouldn't be in consideration.
I want to believe.
Yeah, I think he'd be an easy one to get, especially with sponsors as well.
Yeah. The sponsorship could really help, too, because clearly people are excited about him. He has been getting a lot of shit for wrecking. And, like, people have been, like, bringing up the, like, wasn't he brought in because of Logan's wrecking, whatever. I will say, he is still a rookie that they brought in mid-season, rather unprepared. Half of the wrecks he's had were in Brazil, which I think Brazil was, like, a hellscape for rookies. Like, he definitely shouldn't have been pushing as hard as he would. He should have done what, like, Ollie Behrman did and, like, just try to, like, finish the race, you know what I mean? Especially after they rebuilt the fuck out of his car after the first crash in Brazil. But I don't think he has that ability. I think he literally does every single lap like it is his last lap on the grid. And, like, from that, you see he clearly has good pace. He has good racecraft, I think. Like, I'm really impressed by, like, his ability to, like, pass people in unusual places at times and, like, you know, go wheel to wheel with people without, like, completely acting like a damn fool. And I think he's, like, pretty well-tempered and on it for a rookie. I think some crashes are to be expected for rookies. It's just unfortunate that he only has the second half of the season to, like, prove to everybody how great he is. And he has to also get out the rookie mistakes now. I don't know. But I think that next year, guys, you should be expecting all those rookies that are signed to also crash the fuck out a lot. I think that Kimi Antonelli is going to crash. I think that Bortoletto is going to crash. I think Jack Doohan is going to crash. Ollie Behrman, going to crash. That's just what rookies do, I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sometimes they do. Oscar never did.
Well,
the difference between like Kimi and Franco is they had the same amount of experience, and I mean Kimi wrecked it twice in a better car in a Mercedes, whereas like the Williams, the first race of the year, it was wrecked. The third race of the year, it was wrecked. You know, like they're at the top of the destructors. But I don't know. I think Franco's a good driver. I still think it's hard to have the conversation about who's a good driver or like who's better than others when it's not a driver-based series. It's an engineering series.
Yeah, I mean, like, the car is trash.com the remix. I mean, Alex Albon has not finished a race in months. Oh my god. He put something on his story and I was like, why is this so emo? Oh my god. He put something like you couldn't write it or something like that.
I screenshotted that. I'm like, that's going to make a really good Instagram collage caption. I'll take that.
I love emo Albon. Like, they've officially sent this man. He can't do it anymore.
He's spiraling. He's like, and rightfully so.
He's crashing out. So you brought up a little bit about Cadillac joining F1. Most exciting news I feel like I've gotten from F1 in quite some time. Like, I know we like make everything in F1 a news story, but this is one of those big news stories that I'm actually like I'm like kicking my feet and giggling. Like, I'm so fucking excited. It's gonna be called Cadillac. From my understanding, it's going to maybe not start with a GM power unit, but eventually have one. I don't know the details, guys. I wasn't in the room. It is still kind of loosely related with Andretti, but not obviously with the Andretti name. I believe that this is a direct response to the investigation that has been going on, because when they came to COTA, they started getting pressured by the Justice Department to provide communications that were had about Andretti joining the grid in order to go through the antitrust investigation. And then, weirdly enough, when they come back to the United States and there was an anticipation that they were going to get pressed some more, then weirdly, all of a sudden, the talks are going well and we're having a new team. Just find that very convenient. So I think F1 and Liberty Media and FIA, they fucked around and they found out. And here's something that I've been finding joy in. People's worst ideas of who the driver lineup for Cadillac is going to be. One of them that I just, every time I see it, I'm sorry, y'all, I cannot help but to roll my eyes, is Daniel Ricciardo. How many times do you get to come back to F1?
No more. He's maxed him out. He's figured it out, and I think it's like, what, 3 times?
2. Yeah. Like, I mean, I just, like, I'm like, guys,
he's fine. He's a wag for the Buffalo Bills now. He doesn't need F1. Did you see him think about jumping on that table at the Bills game? He doesn't need F1.
Yes, he doesn't. He's, like, into motocross still. Like, he's been doing, like, Enchante motocross collabs because there's, like, some Red Bull motocross racer that he also is in love with. Like, he has, like, his bromances, and that's all the bro needs. I think in a couple years, like I've said, he's going to come back to F1 as, like, a commentator or something. And he's fucking fine, guys. I don't even think this man wants to be on the grid as badly as y'all want him on the grid. Like, let him be unemployed in peace. Like, I don't think he cares. I really don't. And so, why people want him to have that seat? I've seen all these people being like, he's like so American in spirit.
Huh?
We've got to stop saying that.
I think he'd get like
the man gives a little bit of a fuck about football, and you guys are ready to like.
He's so American.
Write him in as president.
He wore a cowboy hat, and we're like, he's so American. I fear he's just Australian, my guys. I fear.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like I don't understand, y'all. A lot of people have also said Logan Sargent. Now that one, I feel like it would piss me off less, but I'm also like, I still like kind of am like, why would you wish that on that man? Because what if this car sucks ass?
That's literally what I said.
Like, deal with it again? Like, he's done enough.
People were sending that into my DMs and going, hey, you think Logan's going to get the seat? And I go, I hope not. I can't do that again. And I'm sure he's fine. I also think Logan has had time to come to peace with it. Plus, frankly, I think the boy needs years of therapy for dealing with James.
Yeah.
He can't be.
He's gonna have to go back to that place and see him every weekend. It's gonna send him in a spiral.
We can't put him through that.
We can't. I actually really am. I think it would be so exciting to see him in IndyCar someday. I really want him to like continue down that path. Don't send that man back to F1. Like, he did his F1 or his IndyCar test. For once again, this is a PSA. Logan Sargent will not be getting an IndyCar seat for next year. If you think that is what is happening, I fear you are wrong. However, it is a good sign that he showed up, did a test, didn't crash, and got a bajillion social media likes. That is what IndyCar would like to see. It is not happening this year, however, y'all. And if you continue saying that...
At this point, Stingray Rob has a seat. I'm not completely sure he won't have a seat. We don't know who's having a seat. Who knows? You know what? Logan Sargent's having a seat for 2025. Fuck it. I don't know.
All right, Lapstone is retracting their statement. Yeah, Lapstone is retracting their statement. I was trying to talk the people down, MJ.
No. Talk them up.
But he's not getting the fucking Cadillac seat, okay? Either way, he's not getting that seat.
You know who does drive for Cadillac?
Who?
Scott Dixon. Wouldn't that be darling? A 7-time world champion or a 7-time IndyCar world champion?
He could get like a little career change. I don't know. Numbers are kind of fake, you know?
It's those 6, 7, 8 really kind of fuck me up. In my brain, I'm like, they're all the same. That's why when Lewis is like, 8 world champion, 7 world champion, my brain's like, no, they're all actually the same number, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like you should be able to round up.
I don't see why you wouldn't. Yeah, round up to the next number with a 0.
What's the difference? Also, somebody said Kevin Magnussen. I love Kevin Magnussen. I don't think he did that good.
I don't think he wants it. I think he's itching. He wants to rub in his racing. Mm-hmm. He heard Conor Daly say that, and he's like, "Oh wait, shit, that actually sounds really. You mean the cars can make contact? That sounds fucking sick."
Yeah, I think that I've seen Valtteri Bottas. I think he's actually at peace with losing his job because he created a charity this last week. Or didn't create a charity. He created a sweatshirt in which he was going to donate the proceeds to a charity for people affected by sudden job loss. I think he's accepted his...
He has other ventures.
The man wants to run marathons and shit. Like, let him live. I think that you guys just need to learn how to, like, let people, like, exit in peace. Like, I feel like F1 fans really are bad at, like, just letting people go. You know who I blame for this? Fernando Alonso. Because, like, he left, and then people, like, were like, this is how we accept somebody leaving the sport. And then he came back. And now everybody thinks anybody all the time, every day, can come back. Like, Sebastian Vettel, he's coming back. Everybody's coming back. Nick Schumacher, he's coming back. I heard everybody's coming back. Daniel Ricciardo's coming back. Logan Sargent. These people are not coming back. I'm so sorry. Let them rest in peace, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, but who do we actually think could potentially get a spot?
It's gonna be some F2 kid or something. But who I would like to see, if super points weren't a thing, which that's a whole
Yeah, I was just
other
about to say, like,
topic of conversation.
Can we, like, figure out, like, this, like, points situation? Because I have a lot of people that I would like to be on it, but then there's, like, this stupid bullshit of, like
Right.
super license points. Can we figure out what the fuck is happening? That's the new FIA president's job after MBS inevitably gets not reelected or whatever the fuck, however the fuck that shit works. Figure out how the fuck we can get Colton Herta in a seat, please.
That's
whatever we have to do.
Honey, that's why they're there. The super license points are there to keep them out.
I know. And so that's why I'm like, can we figure, like, get rid of whoever we have to get rid of? Like, we fired people to get Andretti to get a spot on the grid, and it worked. Let's fire more people.
It would be nice to see. I would love to see Colton Herta in an F1 car. He deserves it.
Fire people in the name of getting Colton Herta in an F1 seat.
I don't know. I don't know who's going to get it. I'd love to see Alex Palou in that seat. Pato's a good option. Yeah. Franco would be great. Paul Aaron when he's ready.
I do
Chloe
think we
Chambers.
Do need one.
Get Chloe Chambers in the seat, dude. You want to talk about
Literally.
American? No one rides
American
for Haas like
hero.
Chloe Chambers. I
American
love that
fucking
woman.
hero. I do think we need at least one American. Because, I don't know, I just feel like when Audi was like, we need German drivers, I just was like, I appreciate, like, when a brand is starting up, like, they're like, we need to, like, get some hometown fans on this train.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we need at least one American. That's why I think it should be Colton Herta.
Is Jack Crawford American?
Yeah, he's, like, trapped in, like, the Aston Martin plan, though, isn't he?
Do you think they'd release him?
I think...
We'll give him Yuki.
I mean...
And they
probably
could give us.
Well, actually, maybe they won't get rid of Jack Crawford because, like, both Fernando and Lance are like, who knows how long they'll be in the sport. Yeah, it's like I think that they're both kind of waiting to see how the Adrian Newey thing goes. They're like, can we make Lance Stroll world champion? And then I think pretty soon after that, they're going to be like, okay, we need to look at other options because we gave this man an Adrian Newey rocket ship. It turns out he still sucks. Speaking of Lance Stroll, I feel really bad. I was kind of making fun of him during the race because he was like really far behind everybody else. And then like whenever he would come around, everybody in my section would cheer for him in like a way that was like, we're laughing at you, not with you sort of way. And then I found out he didn't have his radio for the whole race, and the man just, like, didn't know when or how to pit without making, like, a big mess of everything. So I think he just kind of was like, I think I'll stay out here until I figure this out. And then I don't know how he ended up letting them know that he was coming into pit. I think they just were, like, literally, like, watching to be like, okay, let's see when he comes out. But then he kind of caught up to some people once he got new tires. So then I kind of felt kind of bad. But, like, also... I don't know, it's Lance Stroll. Sometimes I have to remember my empathy can only go so far. It's like, this one time, yeah, that sucks, but, like, it's Lance Stroll.
I kind of like Lance. You know my feelings on Lance.
Yeah.
I don't hate him.
Guys, this weekend I said something to MJ, and I think she actually got offended. We were, like, in a store, and they had, like, giant blow-up pictures of, like, all the drivers.
I did get offended. Because, whoa. No, you're going to tell it in a skewed way. So we were in this store. No, this is my story. You shut up. So we were in this store because I wanted to buy a Haas hat. Okay, God forbid I wanted to buy a freaking Haas hat at an F1 event. Could not find one anywhere.
There was none.
There was like a Roman Grosjean Haas hat for like $170. And I was like, is this paying for his IndyCar seat? Because I'm not spending that. But, so there were these giant posters, and there was one of, like, Max and Charles, and it said, like, the heat is on or something. And then there was one right next to it of Fernando Alonso, and they had blown him up, so he was the same size.
Can we talk about the Max and Charles one? Because we made a funny joke. We were like, it's the Verstappen poster, and it said the heat is on. And we were like, what heat? The sexual heat?
It looked like one of those early, like, 2000 romance... Like, what is it? Yeah. Like, Hers, Mine, and Ours, where they're, like, two people are on the poster, but they're, like, facing each other with, like, their backs to the side of the poster. That's exactly what it was.
half of the poster was blue and half of it was like red, and it was like kind of like giving like his and hers side, you know what I mean?
No, it was
like,
cutie. I liked it.
It was a really Lestappen poster. Like the girlies that love Lestappen, you've got to go to that store. They got to still have it. Anyways.
Oh, for sure. But there was a poster right next to it, and it was an Aston Martin one. And I was looking at it because they had clearly blown up Fernando Alonso. Like, they've made him bigger so that he was the same height as Lance Stroll. And so I was kind of, like, getting close to it, and I was like, oh my god, like, this is really a freaky picture of Fernando Alonso. And then I was like, oh, fucking Lance is here. And we started to kind of, like, make fun of Lance. And then, and she has her camera out at this time also as well. And she goes, hey, wait, MJ, wait, stand next to Lance. Hey, you kind of look like him. You guys look like you could be cousins. After we were making fun of him, you were like, hey, wait a minute. And the worst part is she's kind of like, yeah, I do kind of look like I'm cousins with Lance Stroll.
They do kind of look like they're cousins. But what I would do if I were you is, like, look on the positive end of this. Like, we could really find a way to get some money out of this. Like, we could convince, like... cousin. Yeah, like, we could convince the Strolls that you're, like, part of this in some way. Like, you love hockey, and you look like Lance Stroll. Like, I think you could pull off Canadian, like, really easily, and you could just be like, we are related. Like, I deserve paddock passes, and also, can you fund me not having to work anymore?
True. Hey, fuck it. Put me in the Aston Martin seat.
Hey, Daddy Stroll, do you have a niece that you would also like to make a world champion?
Yeah, Uncle Stroll.
Right. So
that's worse.
What do you prefer, the Danica Patrick or the Lance Stroll? There's an easy answer here. So why don't you take this as an opportunity and realize that now instead of people saying you look like Danica, they're going to start saying you look like Lance's cousin. You're welcome.
Maybe I should just get off the internet. I think this is it for me.
Nobody says I look like anybody, so
no
I
one
live
chooses
a life
the
of
two
peace.
most hated people and goes, hey, have you ever thought about the fact that you look like them? Hey, you actually...
Okay, but people don't hate Lance because he's ugly. They all think he's hot. They just hate him because he's... They hate me because my daddy's... Okay, why do I sing every goddamn episode? But, like, the thing is that, like, nobody said the man isn't a good-looking guy.
So you think I'm handsome?
I think like you could like definitely get worse comparisons, MJ. Like I think
yeah,
you
like
should
Danica
take
Patrick
this and run with it. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start posting from a faceless account.
I really don't think you look like Danica Patrick, and I'm gonna speak on it.
I
think that people just look at like hair color and stuff like that, and they just like run with it. Like as somebody with curly hair, I'm like chronically told I just look like any other person with curly hair. Like and that sends me through the roof. Like basically like any person that has curly hair. When I was like younger, I used to get told all the time, you look like Lorde. I was like, I literally in no way look like her. I literally just have curly hair. And then I also got told I look like the girl from 13 Reasons Why.
Hannah Baker?
Also just another person with curly hair. Yeah, like literally people would just like say I look like people with curly hair. And so I think people just look at you and they're like, you know who else has dark hair? Danica Patrick.
I think that's fair. I think it's also fair because usually on the videos where they're like, hey, you look like Danica Patrick, I really am just saying shit that I don't know anything about.
They're like, this reminds me of somebody.
Like, they're like, whoa, wait a minute, I see this.
There's somebody else who gets on and just shares their opinion about things that maybe they're not completely educated on.
Jensen Button would hate to see me coming. He simply would go into shock.
Or maybe he would take pity on you. And he would be like, listen, I hear there's some jobs opening up at Sky Sports. Maybe if we put you on, we could get rid of her. Like, maybe Sky Sports won't even notice. Like, we can, like, swap. Yeah, like a long-lost twin situation. Like, people won't even notice that she's gone.
I can do what she does.
Me too. I'm still dying at, like, a couple weeks ago when they were like, and to you, Danica. And she was like, this is Carlos Sainz driving. They got like really quiet. And they're like, right. So anyways, and they like took it back from her. Like they were like, we were trying to throw it to her, and then she just did some dumb shit. So now we're taking it back. Okay. Here's some random notes I just have. Penalty for Oscar for a false start. Him and Lando both had no pace this weekend.
True.
Those McLarens really were like just kind of like out in their own little vibe. Like it was more evident like in person because it was like here's all the like front pack people, here's literally Lando and Oscar, and then here's like all the other people. They were so far off from all the other top cars. Still good in the way of like they weren't fully midfield. Like they weren't kicking it back there with like the Haas's or the RBs, but like they definitely weren't kicking it with the Ferraris or the Mercedes either. So it was kind of like sad to see because I love Oscar, but I'm glad that we could like put Lando's championship battle to rest peacefully. Like I'm glad that he could now just like him and Max can both not have to deal with that for the last 2 races, and they can just live their lives in peace separately.
Good news. No one's ever probably going to have to ask Lando about the World Championship ever again. So that's a relief to him, because he really hated answering those questions. So at least they're done.
Yeah. And I tried to, like, so, like, I'm not, like, the biggest Lando fan. Obviously, he has said some things this year that have pissed me off. I will say, people were trying to, like, always ask him about the championship. And I think after Brazil, we could have just let that go. Like, people were still doing it in the lead up to Vegas. Like, they were like, is this the week where you're going to, like, catch back up with Max? And he was like...
I mean, you have to, because what else would you talk to him about? Because he was in, like... I mean, for a long moment, he was in the best car. So they couldn't be like, what changes would you make to the car? It was just like, do you like wearing the color orange? How do you feel about the championship? Are you and Max, like, friends? And that's it.
Yeah. A lot of people now, though, are like, oh, next year is his year. I fear not, babes. I fear not. I think that next year is going to be a bloodbath central, okay? And I think he's not even going to be safe in his own team. I think Oscar is going to go berserk.
Oh. I thought you meant, like, you think
they're going to get rid of him?
Like, that they would start considering it, but I doubt it.
Oh, probably not, but I just think, like, Oscar is going to, like, go berserk beginning of the season next year. I don't know. I also am not convinced that they have the fastest car anymore. I don't know. I think that other people made more progress on their car through upgrades, and the McLaren is not as impressive as it was maybe 3 months ago. They really could have capitalized on that and not been in a Constructors' Championship fight with Ferrari right now, yet here we are.
It feels so hard to tell sometimes because of all the strategy errors, the driver errors. It's like, even if they did have the fastest car, would they? Would it really make any difference? I don't know.
Who knows? Speaking of, like, fastest car things, Max obviously won his 4th consecutive world championship. Everybody give a round of applause for Max. I love you so much. You're so cool. He's right up there with Vettel now with the 4 Red Bull championships. It's just so iconic, and I really feel like this year was, like, probably his best championship of the 4. But he got immediately drunk after winning, which is hilarious. And then he was, like, doing all his press, and he was just saying shit. And he was, like, giving one interview, and Zach Brown comes up to him, and he's like, you got 4. You got more than my Senna guy now. And it's like, well, that's kind of a weird thing to say. And then Max goes, yeah, and remember at the beginning of the year when you said I could only do it if I was in the fastest car? And Zach was like, yeah, I did say that. Shit. And then, like, he just kind of, like, walked away.
Zach goes,
so fucking awkward. And I was like, the way that, like, Lando and Zach opened themselves up so much this year when Lando did that thing at Lewis where he was like, well, you had the fastest car at one point. He's
right.
Like, well, yeah, and then he won with it. You were
right,
did not do that.
That's the part that was missing in Lando's situation.
Yeah, he won 7 world championships with the fastest car.
Right.
Unfortunately, you are in a Constructors' Championship battle with a Ferrari team.
You think they're gonna do it? You think they're gonna win Constructors? No, McLaren. Well, I guess
I don't think McLaren's gonna. I don't think McLaren's gonna win it, actually, because I do actually think that they're, like, both of their drivers have been a little bit on the
downhill
decline. Like, I love Oscar Piastri. The man has not been feeling himself for the last, like, 3 races. I don't know where he has been. I don't know what they did to him, but he has not been feeling it.
We gotta get him out there.
I think
Oscar to Cadillac.
I actually think that I could see that happening, because I think that if anything happens next year where he feels that he's now a number 2 driver officially, he will leave.
I agree.
And he'll leave for somewhere that will put him as a number 1 driver. But I also think he might replace Max Verstappen when he inevitably retires.
In 2026. That's when I think Max is going to go.
I love when, like, he won, they started asking him questions about, like, his next championship, and I was like, this is the part where he threatens to retire. Like, every fucking interview this man gives, he talks about retiring. I don't remember what I was saying, but, I don't think McLaren's going to win it, no, and I actually think Ferrari will. I think that McLaren is supposed to be good at, is it Abu Dhabi or Qatar that's, like,
I think
just
it's
whoever's
Qatar.
the fastest wins? Okay, so I think they'll win Qatar, potentially. I could see Lando winning Qatar. But I think that I could see, like, maybe the Ferraris still getting podiums and stuff like that and fucking with, like, their points lead still. Because I think the Ferrari... Oh, my God, guys, I'm so bad at actual... I know wheel, I promise. Okay, don't fucking bully me. I think that the Ferraris are pretty... As Lewis Hamilton said on the radio this weekend, they have really good straight line speed.
Mm-hmm. They do be getting that.
I still think that even if McLaren does well, they won't do well enough to keep the Ferraris off their tails, especially if they have any sort of driver errors. Now, Mercedes, congratulations. Enjoy your last win of the season. You guys are done, because for some inexplicable reason that even they don't understand, they made a car that only does good in the cold. I actually am excited for when they do discover how they managed to do that, because I don't think anybody knows. Like, nobody on the team knows. Nobody on other team knows. They all just have accepted it as fact. They're like, it's cold outside. The Mercedes is going to do really well. And it's funny because that's, like, the least helpful thing to be good at. Like, we talk about the Ferraris, like, oh, they're good at, like, street circuits or whatever. Like, it's so funny that they're, like, good at, like, literally the 3 races a year that are cold.
That it's cold.
That's like an engineering feat that I wish somebody could explain to me, but Mercedes is not in a place right now to explain it to even themselves. So, congratulations to Mercedes. George Russell actually, like, low-key did one of, like, his best performances I think we've ever seen this weekend. Like, he literally was like, he just, like, showed up and was like, what if I dominate the whole weekend?
Yeah, the lead that he had, it was 10 seconds. Did it go up to, like, 13, 14 seconds?
There was a point where they hadn't pitted and everybody else had, and they were the only people behind them were, like, midfielders who had also not pitted, and it literally was like George would go by, Lewis would go by, an extended period of silence, and then you just see, like, a Haas or somebody that was, like, not pitted yet, that was just, like, goofing around out there, and it was kind of insane. I do think, like, Lewis was saying, like, if I had it messed up during qualifying, I could have won it, and I was like, correct, but you did.
It happens. It happens.
I will say it's not always the driver's fault. It's like the reporters set them up for these answers, but whenever I hear answers like that, I'm like Max has famously said, if my mom had balls, she'd be my dad. Like, it's like, why are we playing these games? Like, I don't care what you could have happened, it didn't. But anyways, I think that Lewis literally hates George and Carlos, so, like, the cool down car was really funny. He literally was, like, leaning all the way forward, had the window down, and was like, please get me out, please.
He was looking at himself in the mirror too a couple times, and then you have the dichotomy of that, and then Max is in there, like, fucking around with buttons. He's like, oh, I think this one opens the door. And I was like, Max, just sit down and be quiet for, it's like a 2-second drive. Just don't say anything.
Literally, him and GP, you would think that they have never spoken to each other before or something. Like, I'm so confused by their dynamic, because I think that, like, the commentators, they were like, I don't think they've ever spoken to each other this soon after a race before. They literally both were like, and then Max was like, okay, it's uncomfortably silent, what should I do? And he just starts going, oh, the tray is so far away.
Wow, the buttons
and then, like, just like, anyways, and I was like, please keep this camera on him at all times. Don't switch to the other car. Like, I need to be a part of every part of this. But yeah, George and Carlos were, like, giving, like, little brother energy. Like, they, like, little brother and his friend, like, wouldn't stop talking in the back seat, while, like, older brother was, like, trying to, like, just be chill and cool. Like, Lewis did not fuck with that car. And then I was going to say something nice about Checo. Crazy, I know. But he had, like, kind of a sick double overtake. And I feel like we made a really big deal about the Alex Albon double overtake. And so I feel like we should make a big deal about this one. Just be fair is fair.
He's in a Red Bull. A double overtake should be the standard. Alex did that in a Williams.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to defend Alex.
No. I'm not saying this in any way to... Like, Alex's was, like, cooler. Because he, like, kind of, like, went, like...
Yeah, it was sick.
For the audio listeners, that was me indicating a side-to-side motion.
I hate when you do that.
Okay. Thank
when
you
you
so much for
whisper
your
into the mic.
feedback. Checo's was like he went around the inside of two cars. So it was a less impressive double overtake, so I'll still give it to Alex. His was way cooler. But I was just thought I'd say something nice about Checo for like once in my life. And then... I don't even want to talk about this. I just don't feel like being doxxed or whatever is going to happen to me. But the Carlos and Charles drama. Basically, like, I'm going to be honest and say I don't know if I'm the best informed of what happened because a lot of it did not happen on air. I went back and I watched the F1 TV broadcast hoping to get a better idea of what happened. And I still did not get a better idea of what happened because I think the people that are putting what happened were people that were like specifically watching the Charles onboard broadcast with his radios or something. I'm really not sure how they got these radios, but basically Carlos and Charles were like neck and neck the whole day. They both had their issues. Charles had some issues with like his individual stints on his tires falling off like a cliff at random points. Carlos had issues with the strategy of Ferrari, where he's like, please, can I get off these tires? They're like, absolutely, totally understand. And then when he was ready to come pit, they fully were like, oh, you meant right now? And they were like, never mind, come back later, we're not ready for you. So he had to do another lap on the same shitty tires that had like completely fallen off. So they both had like a bad race in the way of like, they had Max and Lewis and all these people on their tail at various points that they wanted to stay in front of, and Ferrari was like not working with them. Apparently they told Charles, oh, Carlos isn't going to put any pressure on you. And then Carlos ended up overtaking Charles. And then Charles was like, try asking him in Spanish. My question is, people are saying, this is why Carlos got fired because he's not a good team player. I think I'm not understanding what he was supposed to be a team player on. If you're going faster than somebody and you overtake them, because you're trying to maximize the amount of constructors' points that your team can get, and you think you're faster, and you're able to overtake safely without taking out both cars, and then you go and you try to chase down Lewis. I feel that that's exactly what a team player should do. If Charles is upset about that, that's fine. He can be upset about it. I don't think that has anything to do with Carlos, though. Carlos is just doing his job. Furthermore, there has been a lot of times where I think Carlos has been an amazing team player. For people to use this to just like write him off completely is a bit crazy to me. There has been so many times where like he has fought Charles wheel to wheel, and he has never done anything, in my opinion, that makes it so either of them were in danger of crashing, taking out each other's cars, anything like that. I actually think they're one of the few teams that I actually really enjoy watching them drive against each other because they are pretty similarly matched, I feel like. They race clean, and they keep it interesting. Sometimes Charles is faster, sometimes Carlos is faster. I think it's entertaining. When times Carlos is completely not faster, he knows when to like do the other part of it. Like in Monaco, when Charles was clearly way faster than him, and he was playing the strategy game the whole time and updating the team about where Oscar was and what Oscar's tires looked like to make sure that they could monitor the situation to keep Charles out in front, because Ferrari strategy is unable to do that themselves. Also, Charles is not fighting for a world championship, so there's no reason for them to like switch positions for each other, and even then I think that's bullshit, but even whatever. And it's also one of the last times he probably has to get a podium before he goes to Williams. So yeah, I can imagine he probably is not going to like happily give up his third place to Charles for no good odd reason. So with that said, when Charles gets on the radio and bitches and moans and cries and whines, part of me thinks it's just emotion, in the way of like he's just frustrated. He literally had just finished the race at that point. I'm sure the drivers say a lot of shit that we're not supposed to hear on the radio when they're frustrated. Second of all, I actually think his issue is with Ferrari. I don't think it's with Carlos specifically. I think Ferrari is ridiculous. It's a prison in which he's entrapped in, and he will never get out of it, allegedly or apparently. And he's, I think, going to just continue to be upset as the years goes on. Good luck when Lewis gets there. I think he's going to have a terrible time. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Do you think I'm going to get doxxed, MJ?
Probably.
Likely.
Yeah. Maybe they'll send you fan mail, though, or something cool. That's how cheddars will know who to reach out to.
Right. Yeah. If I get doxxed, fair enough. Maybe I'll at least get, like, one person who's a Carlos fan who will send me flowers.
Maybe. The thing that I don't really understand is, first of all, Charles kind of cleared it up in, like, the post-race interview where he's like, I'm not frustrated with Carlos, I'm just frustrated with the situation. I do think it was just, like, a heat-of-the-moment situation, which is apparently fine when anyone else does it. When, like, Lando says egregious things after, when Max says egregious things after, then you get all the comments where it's like, well, they're in extreme sports, and they're running off of adrenaline, and sometimes they're just gonna say shit. I don't have any issues with what Charles said. It is, like, the fans defending him, or not even defending him, but, like, attacking everybody else because of this whole not a team player thing, when it didn't seem like there was a team playing situation happen. It didn't, from what I heard, didn't sound like there was a, hey, Carlos, let's try to stay behind Charles. Didn't seem like that ever happened.
No.
Charles had been struggling for a hot minute on, I think he was on the medium tires. He kind of got pitted kind of weird because of the situation going on with Carlos, where they weren't calling him in. I do think the frustration lies more, from what I've seen, it lies more with Ferrari and everything that happened.
Yeah.
But the Ferrari fans are fucking insane.
Dude, like, if you literally go on their social media right now, like, all of the comments are about this. And, like, all of the comments are like, I'm so glad we're firing Carlos. If you're a Ferrari fan, I'm sorry. I fear that this is one of the best lineups on the grid as far as, like, they're evenly matched. They are strong when the other one is weak. I feel like whenever one of them's having an off weekend, the other one is there to pick up the pieces. That's exactly what you would want from a driver's lineup. Compare that to, like, what a lot of these other top teams have. I think that they have a pretty good setup right now. And sure, if you get the chance to sign a 7-time world champion, I can understand why Ferrari would do that. I don't think, though, it's going to make the situation any better for Ferrari. In fact, I think it might make it worse. If you think Carlos is bad about his competitiveness, I'm very concerned for you and your sanity next year.
I don't think it matters who they put in that second seat. I do think it's just going to be... I think a lot of the Charles fans might be a little bit younger and have a little bit more time on their hands. And that's why their death threats have so many, like, grammatical errors in them. They can't get the student Grammarly subscription yet, which is fine. But I do just think this is going to be really hard next year. Hey, I'm trying to be serious.
Sorry, I just laughing at the Grammarly thing.
No, for real.
Calling them unemployed.
No, I'm just saying they're probably in school.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I think...
And most Charles fans that I interact with are, like, totally normal people. Like, I think if they had a psych exam, like, the psychologist would be like, yeah, no, you're totally fine. But then you see the ones who are... The ones that are loud right now that we are talking about, those are the ones that are going to be an issue next year when you have the loud Lewis fans, because there's loud fans of every driver. Most drivers. Yeah. Probably not Alex. Yeah. Everyone else, though. When you have these loud Lewis fans coming at these loud Charles fans, I can't wait to watch from, like, 10 steps away. I'm just so concerned.
Like, I literally am so concerned for, like... I think this team is going to blow up. I think they're going to blow up. Because, okay, my thing is that, like, Lewis is going to come in. He's on limited time.
Sure.
He perceives this as, like, this is his last go at it before he retires. I think he's over F1. At least it feels like it is a little bit now. Maybe he's just over Mercedes. But I feel like he's over a bit of it all, to be honest. And he's like, I just want to go to this iconic team. I want to do something cool. 2 years, 3 years, tops. That's what I got. And I'm going to, like, go balls to the walls for the whole time. So, like, I'm confused how we feel Charles is going to fit in that situation. I'm done. I'm just so happy that we're, like, done with this. I think that, like, as a Carlos fan, I'm like, okay, I'm going to just go be in peace at the back of the grid, I think. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's super peaceful at Williams. Let me tell you. You're actually going to love it. You're going to love it back here. Because we will never have these conversations where it's like, Alex should have given it to Carlos or whatever. Because we'll be like,
it's like
they finished. They finished.
That's so crazy. That's so exciting.
It'll be fun.
Like, it's I think, like, a needed peaceful break for me. But
it'll be I
think that, yeah. It'll be a nice little vacation.
It'll be a nice 180 turn from the pain that you're in now to a completely different pain.
Yeah. I think it's important, though, for, like, Charles and Carlos fans to remember, I don't think that these men hate each other. And so, like, for you guys to make it weird in their fucking comments and, like, be, like, all up in them, being like, Charles, I know you hate Carlos. Thank goodness you spoke your truth this weekend, blah, blah, blah. You're just making it weird. I don't think they hate each other. I think that they both have said we are extremely competitive on track. We both say shit on track about each other, pissing each other off. And then about 5 hours later, I bet your fucking ass they're over it. I'm pretty sure I saw a video of Charles gambling in the win, like, after the race. I don't know. I don't think that they're, like, at home, like, plotting each other's murders like you guys think they are. So just stop making it fucking weird, please. Oh, my God. Me when I be normal.
I don't know. It is kind of fun to watch from afar, though.
Yeah.
Just the implosion.
I kind of feel like I'm watching from afar because I, like, am not actively, like, on Twitter being like, meow, 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 meow. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like I'm watching it afar. I just, like, I was so surprised when I got on, like, the Ferrari Instagram. And I forgot, like, how much, like, Ferrari fans are just, like, Charles fans, essentially. And, like, there was, like, all the comments were just, like, oh, my God, like, Carlos is the worst, isn't he? And it was, like, literally a picture, like, celebrating his podium. I was like, guys, your team got a podium. Touch grass, please.
I just think they're they're mad at the wrong people. You need to direct your anger elsewhere. Be mad at
Ferrari.
Be mad at Ferrari. Start commenting on Ferrari's Instagram. Doesn't Ferrari suck?
Yeah, get on Ferrari's Instagram. Me when I have the tires ready for a pit stop. like why are we mad at the wrong people? You're like, they are the ones who, like, dropped the ball completely and entirely. Right. I still don't think they would have beat the Mercedes anyways. I think that the situation they were in was, like, literally the worst, like, the best situation they could have been in. The Mercedes has a fucking rocket ship specifically in the cold, as we've discussed.
No one's cooking like that.
Nobody's cooking like that because it's the weirdest way to cook. But they are cooking that way. Ugh. I love some of the notes you have here about the pink Alpine liveries being gorgeous. I thought they were gorgeous. I loved when Gasly got a P3 in qualifying.
That was amazing. That, you know, I felt a little hope after that. I felt a little hope. Yeah. It quickly dissipated once the race started, but it always does. I do think that the...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that the pink liveries look better on screen than they did in person, in my opinion.
Yeah. They looked... I just like the pink.
They looked good in person, but, like, on screen, I was like, I don't know, I was kind of, like, blushing and giggling. I was like, those are cute.
Yeah. Did you see the Ocon situation where he went to go get his tires and then they fully were not ready for him? So he just basically gave himself a drive-through penalty and he didn't even stop. He just was like, y'all don't seem ready. And he's like, I'll come back.
He said, actually, I'm going to take an extra lap. Thank you so much. It's crazy.
You guys think about your actions.
It is crazy how that happens. How does that happen?
We went from a P2 to P3 to a DNF and whatever the fuck Ocon got.
It's kind of, like, astounding. I don't know. I'm kind of here for it. I love it.
Alpine is such a fun team, guys.
And they literally double podium last weekend. Or, wait, months ago.
Yeah.
Months ago. Double podium. Yeah, I don't remember. We went from that to, like, oh my God, let's put on a cutesy little livery and then just fuck it all up.
Fuck it up. Yeah. I love them so much. Speaking of a cutesy little livery, I think that Steak was cooking with their livery because Zhou Guanyu showed up and went bonanzas. I actually thought he was going to be in the points. I actually truly, in my heart of hearts, thought this man's about to get a point right now.
He was so close to Q1 and I was losing my absolute shit. That didn't happen though. But for a moment, I was like, this is going to be it. We're going to get Steak. We're going to, like, sure, we get to see Max get his 4th world champion or whatever. But we almost got to see Steak's only points for this year.
Yeah.
I think that almost tops it.
I don't know what Bottas was on. He was not having the same amount of fun as Zhou was. And there was a funny point where, like, Lewis was, like, chasing down George, right? and there just happened in the middle to be a lapped steak car. And so it was like, here's George, here's Bodas, and here's Lewis. And I was like, you better leave, buddy. Hey, bud. I always love lapped cars. Like, they just are like, even in IndyCar, like, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, get out of the way. Like, you're causing problems.
What are you racing for?
But, yeah, I loved the steak livery, and I love Zhou Guan Yu, and I'm going to miss him so dearly. I surely do hope he gets one of those reserve driver gigs.
No.
You want him to go to
just purgatory. Put him somewhere where I can watch him in a car. I don't want to do this whole...
I think...
And look, there's Zhou Guan Yu in the garage, like we have to do with Mick. I'm like, free him.
Oh my god, they did it like 17 times with Mick. Like during practices, they literally were like, and here's depressed Mick Schumacher. All right,
it started
back to
to hurt my
like,
feelings. There must be like a Mick Schumacher like screen time quota that they have to meet.
Why do you do that?
You have to leave him alone.
Nick's are gonna be like, I'm surprised that they weren't like, did you know that Gunther Steiner is here as well? Let's have a Mick Schumacher Gunther Steiner showdown on camera because these practices are so boring. Like, let's try to start something. But love Zhou Guan Yu. Also, his social media presence, I feel like, has been improving lately. I don't know, like, what's been going on, but he's just been, like, giving a little bit more charisma on camera. I think that he's, like, seen a future for himself, and it's not in F1, so he's, like, fuck it, should I just try to be, like, an international superstar? A little fashion boy or something? Give charisma on camera?
I'd follow. Yeah. I'd subscribe.
Yeah, I would, too.
Zhou Guan Yu, would you like to be on the podcast?
Oh, my God, Joe. I have a thing for any F1 driver who loves cats, and so when I discovered Sweet Corn's existence, I have to say the jumps Zhou Guan Yu made on my list of favorite drivers is astronomical.
Sweet Corn's Instagram, so cute. He dresses up little Sweet Corn. He has Sweet Corn merch. Sometimes he just wears like a single copy of a one-of-one Sweet Corn T-shirt, and he's like, "Yeah, I had it made because I really love my cat." And I'm like, "Okay." Work your way into my heart, King.
There's just something about the name Sweet Corn, too. It's just every time. Cute. And then, like, Sweet Corn likes to stand like a little penguin sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, on his little 2 feet, and I just think it's so freaking cute. Yeah, I do want to see. Maybe Zhou Guan Yu should just go to Formula E. I don't know. I'd love to see what you do next, King.
Hey, fuck it. We've got some seats in IndyCar, Zhou Guan Yu. Come on over. I'm giving him out.
Welcome. Anybody's welcome. Come on over, King. He has money, I think. Stingray, I don't know. Maybe it's just that Chinese population has money and that they were using him for their money. But I think he has a lot of money, too.
I don't know. We can ask.
Dad, I watched this video one time of, like, all the F1 drivers and, like, how much their families make. It was a very interesting video. I think his dad owns, like, hella car dealerships in China. And they also built, like, an entire karting track near one of the car dealerships. So, like, that's why he, like, had so much access to, like, karting and stuff like that. It's like his family, like, literally had, like, a karting track built in China. So it's, like, ultimate, like, karting Nepo baby. I don't know. But I still... Of all the Nepo babies, I mean, I'll take him. And then lastly... People annoyed by the whistle. That happened. People were annoyed by the whistle.
I was just shocked by how many videos I saw about the fucking whistle. Like, there was one, it was a girl with her eye, like, she was taking a video. I don't know what sound was behind it, but her eye was, like, twitching. And it was, like, every time I heard the fucking whistle, I was like, have you ever watched any other sport? Can I tell you something about whistles? You get used to them. You really do.
I think they just happened to have put the commentator booth near whoever the fuck does the whistling, so it was like more apparent. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys. Vegas hitting hard.
Oh my god.
I just thought it was funny because I did notice it. I don't really think it annoyed me. I just thought, oh, I guess I've never noticed that they do whistles in the pit.
It's a loud
lane.
whistle,
I guess that
too.
would make sense. Is it just to say that there's a car coming?
Yeah, entering the pit. It's a safety thing. Alternatively,
I will say, do we not think that the cars are louder than the whistle?
Well, they would be much louder if they were V10s.
Guys, the way unironically we heard people say that so many times in person this weekend. I was like standing during free practice next to a fence because we were like just goofing around in GA during free practice 1. And there was like this older guy. I say older. He wasn't like old. He was like maybe 35.
He wasn't that old. Yeah.
No, I just say older in the way like he was older than us, okay? And he was sitting there, he had his little Lando Norris hat on, we were watching free practice, and we were talking about something, and I was like, yeah, I'm like just so surprised at like how loud they are. And he unironically said, imagine if they were V10s.
He didn't miss a beat.
No. And then I feel like we heard somebody else say that this weekend. All men.
Oh, yeah.
I will add, all men. And then me and MJ started jokingly, like whenever somebody would say something, we would just be like, but imagine if they were V10s. And then today I got home, I get on TikTok, I see this very nice gal who was sitting at the Cosmopolitan watching the race from her balcony of her room. She was like, they sound like jet engines. And all the people in the comments are, of course, like, silly woman, you don't know what jet engines sound like. And then she was like, I don't know, I was just so surprised at how loud they were. And somebody unironically responded with, imagine if they were V10s. Guys, shut the fuck up about the sound. The engines are still loud. They're still loud. Like, I know like,
they're not V10s.
My voice
like, what do you want? What? Sorry, they're not V10s. Are they? Can they not be loud on their own?
Like, I'm sorry. My voice sounds like this because I had to shout over the cars while like I was trying to talk to people around me. They don't need to be V10s to be loud. The only like sound complaint that I will hear and understand is people that complain about the sound of Formula E. That one I think is fair. I think Formula E is self-aware that their cars.
Yeah, there's really nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, like they're like, I don't know, that's just how like they sound. That's the only one I'll listen to. I think that it's time we put the V10 thing to rest. Okay? Me and MJ have decided it's done. We don't need it anymore. But you were saying Indy cars are louder.
Yeah. I could not have a conversation with the person sitting next to me during an IndyCar race.
Do we also think that it maybe has something to do with like your closeness to the track or like
I was
the
probably
sound
about
in the oval?
I was probably about the same distance as I was in my regular seats. I don't know if the oval thing would affect it. I don't know. I'll have to go to more races to figure out, but they were significantly louder.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't turn to the person next to me and, like, have a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, and I was talking the whole fucking F1 race, so... Because I couldn't see anything.
Yep.
So I was just like, hey, does anyone know what's going on?
Yeah. So I'm curious. I haven't... Obviously, this was my first in-person race of any motorsport series. That's actually not true. I've been to motocross races. Those are pretty loud.
Oh, so you lied. Me when I lie. She has fully set down the mic.
Okay. I think it's time we wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for listening. Keep an eye out. Eventually, someday, we'll post a Las Vegas vlog because we have lots of funny clips that we took. Be sure to follow us on what the fuck do you follow us on?
Be sure to follow us on F1 TV. I am Danica Patrick, and this is my co-host, Lord.
Period. Be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We're at LabSoundPod. We're also on
Blue
YouTube.
Sky. You've been doing a really good job on Blue Sky. That's Andrea, just so you know, most of the time. She's always out there putting little gigglies. You do a good job on it.
I feel like people are starting to be able to tell like which social medias you do and which ones I do.
Yeah.
I got one post that I felt like I was kind of going rogue because MJ couldn't fully vet it before I posted it, and it was the Sphere video. And we got lots of good feedback on the Sphere video. So if you haven't checked it out already, check out our TikTok, our Instagram, and everything. We have a video of me as the Sphere. It's so fun. It's so goofy, guys. And most of the video that we took, by the way, from the Vegas GP, we are speaking in Southern accents. It's part of the effect, and it's part of the vibe.
It's a vacation accent. We weren't in our home state, so you had to immediately put on a Southern accent, even if we were in Vegas.
Sorry. And so, yeah. Be sure to leave us 5-star reviews, by the way, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you're listening. We really appreciate it. And we will catch you guys next week in Qatar. We're not in Qatar.
We're not going to be
They're
in Qatar.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I will probably ever go to Qatar because it seems kind of far away and a weird random place to go.
Sure.
Unless Qatar wants to, I don't know if I'm taking money from Qatar at this time.
Isn't there a NASCAR race that's going to be in Qatar?
No, that's Saudi Arabia.
Oh, I just knew there was a NASCAR
And I
race somewhere.
feel more certain saying I'm not taking Saudi Arabian money. I will say I don't know if I'm fully up to date in the happenings of the political landscape in Qatar, but something tells me.
Sure. Anyways.
Furthermore. Wait, you know that like Jalen Smith thing where it's like, let's talk about the social political state of the world, or the economic political state of the world. That's the twist this podcast is taking. Anyways, we'll get you guys next week not in Qatar, but in our own homes, but like watching Qatar. So
Sure.
bye. Say bye, MJ.
Goodbye.